Hi guys, it's Emily from Novel Novels and welcome to today's video. This is the ranking of my Jane Austen books, or aka Jane Austen ranking book of books. I don't know quite what the title is going to be. I'll think about it. You know me, I don't think too far ahead. Anyway, yet again there is noise in the background because I'm sat in my garden. It's sunny. Today the kids break up for the summer holiday, so I thought I'd quickly get a filming in. So watch out now guys, there's going to be a lot more videos with my children in it now, my luck. I will try and keep them out of it as much as possible, obviously to respect the rules and everything, but I've got 2 young children, trying to keep them quiet is a nightmare. Anyway, enough of them, let's get on with the rankings. So I've read all 6 of the Jane Austen books now. I've got a big pile here and I'm now going to tell you the rankings. This may surprise you because I've actually changed my decision so many times about the rankings on this, and I think at least 2 of them I've read twice. Only 2 of them I've read twice. The others I've only read once. So my rankings may change another year once I've read them more times, and the more I think about them they may change, but today this is the decision. My least favourite is Northanger Abbey, which is a very short book, and it's one that had real potential because it's quite a gothic-y style. It's the style of Catherine Morland, an unwelcome charm and a vivid imagination. When she's invited to be guest at the mysterious Northanger Abbey, she imagines it to be full of dark secrets like her favourite gothic novels. Only her friend Henry Tilney can help her separate fantasy and reality. Apparently, obviously there's a film on this, Becoming Jane, which I do want to see because I love Anne Hathaway's books. Anne Hathaway in her films, so this is the film version of it, but it is the book. I just didn't take to it. I don't know what there was about it. I think Catherine Morland was very much of a dreamer, which I can relate to. Obviously I am quite a dreamer, but it just didn't hold me in. Henry Tilney was alright, but nothing spectacular. It's not like, when I think about this book, it's not like it's springing out to me or having any sort of connections, or I can't really remember the plot line completely because I read it last year for Jane Austen in July, and I wish to God I could like remember bits of it, but when I'm looking at it I'm just thinking it was quite bland. It was probably my least favourite of hers and not one that I remember very clearly. Obviously, yeah, I'm a dreamer like Catherine Morland. I love my books, I love the dreamy aspect. Northanger Abbey sounds like a very mysterious place which I'd love to go to, but it didn't feel exciting, so for me that is my least favourite. Then one I've read for Jane Austen July, and it'll be in my wrap-up part 2, is Sense and Sensibility. Now for me this had real potential. It's got siblings, it's got Eleanor and Marianne. I love Eleanor, I really love her. Marianne is a bit of a dreamer, and when she has there's a bit where she gets ill at one point, and that part I really did enjoy. I felt for her, and I felt that Marianne got developed in that bit, and Eleanor's way she protects her sister is really good. But for me, the first third of this book is very slow, and I didn't really connect to it. I spoke to my sister Charlie about it, and she said, carry on going, it gets good. The second half to the second third is really good, and I think to me it got halfway through and then it started to get a lot better. So this is why I'm still debating on whether this is ranked here as 5th or whether it's ranked 4th. When I show you the 4th book, you'll understand why. But I love Eleanor, I love their mum. I think their mum in this is a lot better. I think, yeah, I totally agree. I'm going to link Tori from Hufflepuff Discoveries, her ranking below, because I think she did a really good description of this, and she probably describes the book better than me. She's a very eloquent lady. But there's like Eleanor, there's obviously like a baddie kind of lady, which is Lucy Steele, and then you've got the Mr. Willoughby, who is a bit of a dick, to be honest, a bit of a prat, and I think he does love Marianne at the start, and then it kind of gets a bit, I can't really tell you the sort of what happens. Yeah, he ends up being a bit naughty, but I didn't feel like it tied everything together at the end. It wasn't as spectacular as my sort of 3 favourite books of hers, which were by far amazing. I do love it. I love books with the sister element, and it had very much potential, but to me it wasn't as good as the top 3. I think for me, my bottom 3 books could sort of chop and change, and then my top 3 could chop and change. But the bottom 3 will never go into the top 3, and, you know, vice versa. I really did enjoy this book, but I definitely think it needs a reread. So as to whether I reread it next Jane Austen July, or probably the one after, I don't know yet, but we'll have to wait and see. This has got potential. I do want to reread it, but it's not my favourite. Then a book that I did reread, for obviously Jane Austen July, it was one of the Greek books, which is Mansfield Park. When I read this the first time, I think I'd read it, I think I'd only read Emma, and before that, I think I'd only read Emma and I'd read Persuasion the first time, and at that time last year it was my favourite of the 3. Since then I've reread Emma, I've reread Persuasion, and as you can tell, they're both in my top 3. This I am really debating whether it goes down as number 4 or whether it goes down to number 5. I really can't decide, because I wanted to love it the second time I read it, but the second time I read it, even though I flew through it, I didn't enjoy it as much. I found myself comparing it quite a lot to the top 3 books. I found myself wanting more from Fanny. I wanted Fanny to stand up for herself. I wanted to, you know, her love interest to be a bit more feisty. I wanted to see power in her, but she kind of just lets people walk all over her, and I found that quite annoying. I did love the way when she had to return home at one point in this, and she stands up to her sisters, but again she just lets people walk all over, and I'm like, get a backbone, girl, you know. I wanted more from this. I did enjoy certain bits of this. I really did enjoy. Like, I did think that the writing in this is incredible. It's a great story of the fact that Fanny gets chosen out of her siblings to go and live with her aunt and uncle and her cousins because her parents can't afford to have all of the kids. But she resents the younger sibling that's left behind, which I totally get, you know. Who'd want to be left behind? But she kind of just lets them do it all, and then she lets the 2 girl cousins of hers walk all over her. And there's obviously, you've got Edmund, you've got Tom, you've got her 2 siblings, and then you've got Mr. Henry Crawford. I liked Henry Crawford. I know I shouldn't. I know that technically he's a bit naughty, but I really liked him. I liked his funness. I liked the fact that he should have fought more for Fanny. He really should have done. He shouldn't have just given in so easily, but he was quite a fun character. Mary Crawford, what a blooming nightmare. But I actually found the Crawford siblings a lot more interesting than I found Fanny. I think Edmund was a bit of a prat. He wasn't, again, not standing up for her enough. And to me, the cousin dynamic, the way that kind of plays out is a bit icky, because it just shouldn't have happened, really. But it was just like, there could have been so much more in this, and the strength of the characters could have been so much more, which is why it's gone down to 4th and may well go down to 5th when I reread Sense and Sensibility, because I just think there could have been more. And now to my top 3. Now my top 3 are probably interchangeable. I certainly think my top 2 are definitely interchangeable. I could change the top 2 anyway. But this is one that I didn't expect to be in the top 3, but the more I thought about it, the more I loved it. I reread this last year, and I'd read it once for the year before, my first time I'd ever done Jane Austen July, and I'd read it once, virtually DNF'd it, it was 2 stars, didn't like it at all. Then last year I read it, and I read this gorgeous copy, which is my Wordsworth Classics edition, which I love, and it's a beautiful edition. Reread it, and it got 4 stars. It is Jane Austen's last written work, so it could have been, it wasn't edited, and I think I held that into account when I reread it. But I love Anne Elliott's character. I love the fact that yes, she's quiet, yes, she's like, she makes decisions that she regrets, but then she changes her life and she goes for it, and she really makes best of things, and I thought it was blooming good. The writing in this is really good. I love the relationship she's got with her sisters. I thought that was really thoroughly interesting. I love Captain Wentworth. He was a really great, like, love interest, and sort of like what he does and how he stands up, and I just love Captain Wentworth. He's probably one of my favourites. Not my most favourite, but one of my favourites of the love interest in this, the strongest male characters. And I love Anne Elliot. I really do. Yes, she gets it hard at the start. Yes, she makes decisions she shouldn't have made, but she makes them for the best intentions. She isn't a walkover like Fanny, because in the end, She comes through. She stands up for herself. I'm not going to give spoilers, but this book, if you've only read it once and you didn't like it as much, reread it. It is blooming good, and I want to reread this again. I really want to reread this. For starters, it's my best edition of this. I've got my other copies. I want Wordsworth Classics editions. Is it wrong? I'm going to think about putting them on my wish list. Let me know in the comments below. Do I, even though I've bought these books in the editions that I've got now that I didn't like as much, do I spoil myself and get nice editions of them? Let me know in the comments below. I especially think I want nice editions of my top 2. Now, you're going to guess, those of you that know Jane Austen know what the top 2 are going to be. Let's see if you can predict. Do you predict which is my favourite and which is my second favourite? I love doing these questions on you. I love getting you thinking about what it's going to be. Because for so long, I didn't think the books that I put in second would be second. I didn't think anything could be better from Jane Austen. But then I read the other book and it changed it. But each day I could change my mind. But for the moment, Emma is my second favourite. I love Emma. She is such a fun, dreamy character. I love this book. I've read it twice. I've read it second time last year. Didn't read it this year. Plan to read it next year. Because I freaking loved it. I absolutely loved it. I think next year my aim is to read this and then probably Pride and Prejudice. But I'm not sure yet. It might be this and it might be Sensibility. I don't know yet, but I know I want to reread this next year because I love it. Emma Woodhouse is clever, rich with a comfortable house and a happy disposition. She thinks too highly of herself and entertains herself by meddling in the affairs of others. The results are not always to her liking. Now, Emma's father in this, Mr. Woodhouse, is actually one of my favourite male characters that's a secondary character, because the relationship he has with Emma is just so cute. I love it. I love it. Yes, she hasn't got a mum in this, so her father has to take the mother role and the father role, which is a lot more common these days. But the way he is, he's such a cutie, and he's so sweet with her, and he's so warm. And I just loved it. Love Mr. Knightley. Mr. Knightley is my all-time favourite as a male character, as a male love interest. I love him. Yes, he's older than Emma. Yes, that's kind of a bit icky. But he's brilliant. He's feisty. He stands up to him, but he lets Emma stand up for herself. He brilliantly is one of the best characters ever, and I absolutely love him. He's just brilliant. This is just an amazing book. If you want to start off with Jane Austen and you've not read any of Jane Austen's books, if you start with either this or my favourite, you'll fall in love with Jane Austen. It's just so brilliant. And we've also got Emma's sister in this. She's a bit of a silly Billy, but she's nice enough, you know. You think to her, why can't I not remember her name? I really can't. But I love this book. I really wish I could remember Emma's sister's name. Sorry, it's my head is really playing up today. And then you've got Miss Taylor, who's her was governess, and then her relationship. There is so much packed into this book. It is so friggin' amazing. You can't just go wrong with it. Emma's just a lovely character. I love her dreamy nature. I love the fact she tries to sort out everyone's relationships and then gets it wrong half the time. But she's got the best meddling heart. She is getting in on all her friends' relationships. She tries to set people up. She doesn't realise, the way Mr. Knightley stands up to her and she's doing it all is hilarious. This book is one of my favourite classics because it makes me laugh, cry, gives me all the emotions, gives me all the feels. I could not love this more than I tried. I would love to. I need to see the film for this because I love it so much. But do I get myself my own Wordsworth Classics edition of this? Do I get a beautiful edition of this? Because I bloody loved it. Now, because I've got hay fever and I don't want to ramble too much, you can all guess my favourite, Pride and Prejudice. Again, I love this. I only read it last year for the first time. I'm still currently trying to watch the DVD for it. Sorry guys, I might have not completed the DVD because a certain young lady got sent home from school, and my other half disconnected the back to the DVD, so I've not been able to have the DVD player on, but I will get around to it, and I'm loving the DVD of it. I love Colin Firth. But I love this book. I've only read it once, so whether when I reread it I like it less or I like it more, and Emma, they swap places. This has all of the feels in it. It has the sisters, So you've got 5 sisters. God, I don't know how they cope. Seriously, I've got 2 sisters and we kill each other half the time still, and we're in our 40s, 30s and 40s. So, I don't need to tell you too much about this because obviously it's the 5 Bennet sisters. You've got Jane is the eldest, and I love Jane. Obviously it's my middle name, so I love her even more. Then you've got Elizabeth. Then you've got Mary, who does not play a big enough part in it, so I recommend that you read the other Bennet sister because you get to think about if Mary got her own way and you get to find out more about Mary, what could have been. Then you've got Lydia and Lizzie. Not Lizzie, I can't remember the last one. Yeah, Lydia, and there's another one, and I cannot remember her last name because I think it is Lizzie, but I'm not sure. No, Lizzie Bennet. So it's got to be something else. Begins with L. Cannot think. But it's Lydia, and then you've got another one, the youngest one, that doesn't really kind of play a part in it as much. But this is brilliant. So you start off with, obviously, Elizabeth and Jane. They're the older 2. They're the sensible 2. Lizzie Bennet is definitely the lead character in this. Her relationship with Mr. Darcy, I love the fact that I love Mr. Darcy. He's a bit of a bad boy, but he's got a good heart. He puts up a bad boy image, but he looks after his sister Georgiana. I loved that relationship. I loved that you obviously had Mr. Collins, and he ended up with another side character, and they didn't get their own way. They didn't get to keep. Shouldn't really say that, but this has got so much potential. Jane's a bit like, she's the eldest, so she kind of doesn't really show her emotions enough. So she doesn't show that she loves her love interest enough, and it's just so good. And then you've got Lydia, the bad boy younger sister, bad girl younger sister who does naughty things and is a bit silly, and the fact that she youngest are very much dreamers, and they're very silly and giggly and girly, and it's like, oh, they annoy the hell out of me having sisters like that. And then you've got Mary, who's not shown much in this book, but she's the middle one. She's got glasses, she likes reading, she likes her books, obviously like relate to that. She likes playing piano, she's highly intelligent, doesn't get with all the romance, but the way Mrs. Bennet treats her is hard. I don't think I like Mrs. Bennet, and I should want to like her, but I don't. I'm sorry. Thoroughly well written, not a likeable character. Annoyed the hell out of me. Mr. Bennet I loved. I thought he was brilliant. I thought poor bloke didn't get a male, gets overrun by women. I used to feel for my dad when he had the 3 daughters and he had all the extra kids that came in and out, and he used to find it like being overwhelmed by women. So Mr. Bennet, I don't know how he did it with 5 daughters plus his wife. But I love this book. I cannot love it. I could not love it more if I tried, I don't think. Although, like I said, I may reread it and try and decide between the 2. But this is absolutely friggin' amazing. I loved this book. I love watching the film. If you start off with Jane Austen, I personally think you should start off with their 2 best books, these 2, because they're amazing. They're the best. There is no question. They are 2 of the best books ever written, in my opinion. See, if you don't count my favourite, obviously Wuthering Heights and Jane Eyre. So I think, for me, Jane Austen July has been a success in the fact that the more I thought about it, the more I love these 2, which I didn't actually read for Jane Austen July, but watching the film for Pride and Prejudice, the DVD of that, has made me think about it more. These are 2 of my favourite classics, and they will always be my favourite classics because they've got sisters, they've got women. Jane Austen is a brilliant writer. She's a consistently good writer. I don't think any of her books are bad. I just don't think that the bottom 3 are as good as the top 3. So, I hope you've enjoyed this kind of rambling ranking of video. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you've liked it, give it a thumbs up. If you're new to my channel and not subscribed yet, ring on my ding-a-ling, and I'll see you all soon. Bye bye.
Goodbye.